All right, we started and ended Mostly Metal with Nightwish. That was Last of the Wilds, a nice little instrumental off of Dark Passion Play, and before that, Elven King with The Regality Dance off of Heathen Reel. And that wraps up Mostly Metal for the night, at least for now. And it's time to turn it over to the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, where I will run down a couple of recent shows that happened this weekend and talk a lot about Smash Fest, which is an event coming up right here in Valparaiso in early April.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated!
And it is the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program. You are tuned in to WVLP LP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm Ken the Metal Professor, and every Sunday night I indulge myself in two ways. One way is by the show Mostly Metal, which starts at 8 o'clock, where I get to play heavy metal. And it's kind of like my therapy, either ending the week or leading into the week, whichever way you want to think of it. I get to play tunes that I like to hear, and hopefully other people like to hear them too. And then I indulge myself with wrestling. I'm a 50-year-old man, and for whatever reason, I'm obsessed with this stuff. So I go to lots of shows and watch a lot of it on television. And with the microphone, I can try to help out by, supporting and promoting and things like that. So what's on tap for this version of NWIWRAP is a recap of two shows that happened over the weekend on Friday and Saturday nights. They're relatively close to Valpo. And then a preview with an interview and lots of promos captured on audio regarding Smash Fest, which is coming up in Valparaiso on April 8th. So this weekend was a busy one. On Friday night, had to go to Mishawaka for this, but that's a reasonable driving distance from Valpo, right? So we're all friends in northern and northwest Indiana. We can kind of call that the area here. It was Revolution Championship Wrestling and Extreme Sports Entertainment. They put on St. Patty's Day Brawl at the Battelle Center in Mishawaka. That's a nice place. I hadn't been there before. Mishawaka's got a nice downtown. This is a community center with a gymnasium in the basement. All the seating is up close and personal. There's a very, very high ceiling because it's basically 2 floors worth of open space, and there's kind of walkable balconies up and around the top where you can look down on the ring. Good acoustics. So nice place to see a show, and I'd like to go back there. And anyway, so Revolution Championship Wrestling and Extreme Sports Entertainment together put on this show. It started with a little pre-show match. The starting time was 7 o'clock officially, but they had some entertainment for us at 6:45 for those folks that came early. And it was the Celtic Nightmare, appropriately for St. Patty's Day Brawl, against Sedan. And guess who won? Because it was St. Patty's Day, the Celtic Nightmare. Both of these guys were fun. The Celtic Nightmare was a larger bruiser kind of guy, and Sedan was skinny and light on his feet, and did a lot of the agile stuff that we like to see. So that was a lot of fun to watch. When the main card started up, our friend Ames took on Myron Reed. And Ames hasn't been on the show yet. Hopefully I'll get him to talk to us sometime soon. But if you've heard this program before and you've heard these rundowns, his name shows up a lot because he's very active in this area. Myron Reed, I think I'd seen him once before, but this was a good match. They're both agile and smooth and fun to watch. Ames ended up winning that match. Stephen Drochner, he is a friend of the show. He was here in the studio last weekend? 2 weekends ago. When was it? Was it last weekend? I don't remember. 1 or 2 weeks ago. He took on the Maltese Tiger, and he won. And the Maltese Tiger is one of the favorites of the kids. He comes out with a tiger mask and a tail. The kids love him. And he lost, and I'm sure, as you might know from listening to Stephen Drochner, he probably took great pleasure in disappointing those children by defeating their Maltese tiger. The Storm brothers had a battle. Kevin Storm and Theo Storm. They are not happy with each other, and this was an intense match. They beat each other up pretty good. Kevin Storm took the win, and next on his list is Noah Walker, who he is also not very friendly with at the moment. Lightning Bolt Johnson and J.C. Bunyan took on the police department, Officer Rod Street and Deputy Dave. These guys were having back in the day, this would have been called a grudge match because they're not liking each other at the moment. So lots of action in and out of the ring made it fun. The Midwest Monsters came out to distract the police department because the police department is on their radar as well. And so Lightning Bolt and J.C. Bunyan got the win. A couple of special guests had a match next. Amazing Maria and Samantha Heights. Neither of these ladies are local, but they came out to help put on the show, and this was a lot of fun. A lot of fun in this match. Amazing Maria won by cheating, and the crowd called her cheater, and she denied it, but we all saw what happened. Then there was a three-way tag team match, so 6 gentlemen in the ring altogether. Team Legendary, Matt O'Hare and Alexander S. Kirk, against Guns and Aggression, who are Mance Warner and Luke Lawson, and the Midwest Monsters, Tank and Brutus Dillon. Now again, if you've heard this show a few times, these names come up quite a bit because they're very, very active on these shows in this area. So these guys battled in the ring, out of the ring, 6 people beating each other up. There's a lot of action going on there. Kind of crazy, kind of hard to keep track of. But at the end of things, the Midwest Monsters, the large Midwest Monsters, landed themselves on top of Guns and Aggression, both at the same time, and took the win for that. But then after that happened, the police department paid them back by sneaking out and whacking them with stop signs. And so they will be taking on each other at the next RCW event, which is RCW 7 on April 7th. And part of that event is the police department against the Midwest Monsters in a steel cage match. Next up, Adam Bueller took on Anthony Toatelli. Again, names that you might have heard several times over the last many weeks on this little here show. This was a match for the number 1 contendership for both the RCW and the Strong Style heavyweight championships. So Anthony Toatelli is trying to be in line for RCW, and Adam Bueller is trying to be in line for the Strong Style title, and they decided to put them both on the line during this match. Towards the end of the match, there was some action in the corner. The ref kind of got squished in behind Anthony Toatelli in the corner. Adam Bueller went to kick Anthony Toatelli in the face. Toatelli dove out of the way. Adam Bueller ended up kicking the ref. And so the ref was out of it for a few minutes. Adam Bueller went to get a chain, tried to hit Toatelli with it. Toatelli dodged out of the way. Adam Bueller dropped the chain. You know where this is going. Toatelli picked it up, clobbered Bueller with it. The ref came to. He started counting the pinfall, and then he noticed that Toatelli had the chain, so he called for the DQ on Toatelli. It always happens like that. So Anthony Toatelli, at least for the moment, was not the number 1 contender for the RCW title. However, in an impromptu fashion, it was decided that because of the manner that match ended, that there was going to be a battle royal for the number 1 contendership, since it was kind of up in the air. So a whole bunch of the folks that had already wrestled and some people who hadn't yet all came out to the ring. They beat on each other for about 10 or 15 minutes, and eventually it came down again to Toatelli and Adam Bueller. And this time, Anthony Toatelli took the win, and so he is the number 1 contender for the RCW title. And I think he will get a chance at that title at RCW 7, which is Saturday, April 7th. It will be at the Roosevelt Center in Elkhart. And the one match that I know of so far is that steel cage match between the police department and the Midwest Monsters, and I'm guessing Anthony Toatelli against Jack Thriller for the RCW title. And I will keep you posted in between now and then on what other matches might become available. Last night, There are actually a couple of choices. Our friends Eric King and Lisa King were here with Steven Drochner. And again, my brain is fried, and it was either last weekend or the weekend before. It's all a blur at this point. I was on spring break, what can I say, right? And I'm sad that it's ending. But their company, Pro Wrestling King, was putting on an event in Peru, Indiana, called Punchlines and Clotheslines. They talked about that when they were here. Peru's a bit of a haul away, and at the same time and date, Fire Pro Wrestling was putting on a show closer to home. So that's the one that I went to. I went to see Fire Pro 132 last night out in Maryville at Impact Christian Church. This was a short card. It only had 6 matches, but some of them were very good. Adam Bueller, fresh off his match with Anthony Toatelli the night before, took on Stonehand Slater Wallace. And this was for the #1 contendership for the Impact Championship. So Adam Bueller is finding himself very close to some high-profile spots in a couple of companies. This time he did end up winning, so he is the #1 contender for the Impact Championship. That's held by Austin Fury, and so those two will probably face off at the next event. In the second match, our friend Dakota Prodigy, he was my first guest ever on NWIWRAP. We should have him back soon, once he recovers from this match, of course, because he and a partner who I don't even know who it was a masked person, the ring announcer, his mic was off, so I couldn't hear the introduction, so I have no idea who that person was, and I'm sorry. But Dakota and his partner, and it probably doesn't matter who his partner was, because they were taking on Team Blackout, which is Drex, Odell, and Mustafa. These guys are big. Mustafa is even bigger than the two guys in the Midwest Monsters. And every time I talk about the Midwest Monsters, I talk about how big they are. These guys are huge put together. So Dakota and his partner made a good effort out of it, but it wasn't going to happen. Once Mustafa and Drex Odell got tired of toying with them, they put an end to the match pretty quickly. So it was nice to see Dakota, and I hope he recovers soon. Third match. Kyle Kaler against the Jinx Davey Addict. Kyle's name has been popping up more often. I've seen him in 3 different companies. He's young, and he's getting his name out there, which is good to see. The Jinx Davey Addict was a returning performer for Fire Pro Wrestling. I had not seen him before, but boy, do I want to see him again, because he was intense with some very, very high-impact moves, upside-down stuff, coming off the ropes, just a lot of really good things. So I definitely want to check him out the next time I get a chance. Match number 4, the product Christopher Kent took on Austin Fury for Austin Fury's Impact Championship. They fought for quite a while until Christopher Kent decided he'd had enough, and he just walked out. And he was counted out because he was gone from the festivities. I'm not quite sure of that strategy, because if I was a wrestler and I was going to walk out on a match, I would do it before I got the heck beat out of me, right? I'm not going to take all that punishment and then walk out. I'd walk out before I took all that punishment. Otherwise, you might as well see it through. Yeah, I guess I should interrupt my recap here, because it is that time of the clock. It's the half hour. And so this is when I'm supposed to tell you that this is WVLP LP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. And if you're not listening at 103.1, you're probably listening on WVLP.org, maybe the TuneIn Radio app, or maybe like one of the Bradys, you got some braces and now you're getting radio reception in your head. Whatever it is, it works. You're listening. I'm happy that you're listening. Thanks for listening. Recapping Fire Pro Wrestling 132 that happened last night. The second to last match was Kevin Graves against Roland Young. This match was interesting for a couple of reasons. Kevin Graves is always fun to watch. Roland Young is fun to watch too. I think he might have really gotten hurt, because at the end of the match was kind of abrupt. Kevin Graves got him to tap out, and maybe looked a little confused about the fact that the match had just ended. I don't know. But Roland Young got help to the back. It looked like maybe he hurt a shoulder or something. Or maybe they were just really, really good at what they do, and they fooled me. I don't know. But during this match, a really tall light pole that was helping light the ring started falling over because it got yanked on by the chain that separates the ring from the crowd. And Kevin Graves, superhero that he is, was in the right spot at the right time to catch it before it hit the floor, or even worse, smack the referee on the head while the referee was kind of leaning out of the ring. So that was a near disaster averted by Kevin Graves. So kudos to Kevin Graves for thinking on his feet and rescuing everybody from whatever would have happened if that light pole had actually hit the floor. Final match of the night. Jeremy Hadley was defending his Fire Pro Wrestling heavyweight title against friend of the show, Flawless Dave Allen. He was our guest last week, and now that I've gotten to this point, my brain can sort out the weeks from each other. Eric King and Lisa and Stephen Drochner were here 2 weeks ago. Flawless Dave Allen was here last weekend. I remember that. I was here. But these guys put on probably one of the best matches I've seen so far this year. It was terrific. Lots of ring psychology. Dave Allen worked on Jeremy Hadley's back for quite a while through many different moves, power slams and suplexes and dropping him on the turnbuckle and all sorts of things in preparation for giving him a sharpshooter, which he eventually did, but Hadley did not actually end up tapping out when he was put in the move. Hadley ended up winning that match, but man, that was a good one. So overall, the show just lasted about an hour and 40 minutes, when normally these things last 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2.5, maybe even longer. So it was kind of short, but I would have gone just for that match. It was that good, and I'm glad I saw it. The next Fire Pro Wrestling event is Fire Pro 133. This will be on Saturday, April 22nd at Impact Christian Church. So that's the past. Those are the 2 shows I got to see this last weekend. And as a reminder, if you go to metalprofessor.com and /NWIWRAP, you can see a little page underneath there called Shows in 2017, and there's a listing of the shows that I know about that are coming up, where they are, when they are, who might be on them, perhaps some matches that are listed for those shows, so we can all keep track together of what's coming up, because this is a busy area. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this thing, is it helps me keep it all straight, and I hope it helps some of you keep it straight and keep up to date on what's going on. Because it's more fun to go to these shows and check them out when you know what happened in the previous show, because there are some storylines that are playing out long term, just like they do on television. So feel free to read stuff on metalprofessor.com and listen here for these recaps. I also have written recaps on the website. You can also pull up the NWI@gmail.com Google Calendar to have all of these shows that I know about show up in your own calendar. So, hey, how about that? All right, so that's the past. Let's look to the future. Saturday, April 8th, 2017, Smash Fest. This is a big-time wrestling show coming to Valparaiso. It's not just a wrestling show. It's more of a fan fest. That's why it's Smash Fest. Lots and lots, dozens of local talent and people coming in that are ex-WWE, WCW, etc., coming in for this show. It's going to be large. It's going to be at Inman's Bowling and Recreation Center. They may be just closing the whole building for this thing that night to make room for everyone. So let's do a couple of things. First of all, Jeremy Seabolt, the owner and promoter of Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling, was supposed to be here with me tonight to talk about it live, but something came up and he couldn't be here live. So this afternoon, we got together over Skype, and I talked to him a little bit and recorded it. So I'm going to play that interview. It takes about 12 minutes, I think. I discovered at the start of this show that the sound coming off my laptop and going through the little gizmo that pipes it into the board may only be coming out one channel. So if I start playing this and it only ends up coming out of one of your speakers or one side of your car or one of your headphones, ears, that's my fault. I couldn't figure out how to fix it, so we're stuck with it. But I suppose it's better than nothing. So this is my discussion with Jeremy Seabolt this afternoon, talking about Smash Fest. Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling, and we're here to talk about a big event coming up in April, on Saturday, April 8th. It is called Smash Fest. It's going to be at Inman's Bowling and Recreation Center. And I guess, first of all, Jeremy, thanks for jumping in here. And can you tell us in, 2 minutes or less what this thing is all about and why people should be interested?
Smash Fest is all about bringing the entertainment to the fans. There's not anything currently going on in Northwest Indiana on the wrestling scene that provides you the option of, meeting so many people, being a guest manager, and just the event. I mean, it's the experience that we're trying to promote. We're billing ourselves as the biggest, best, and most affordable fan fest in the Midwest. Because there are other options if you're willing to travel, but nothing on the scale that we have as far as the amount of names, and nothing along the price point we have as far as being as affordable as we are.
Okay, so I've seen the flyer, which has lots and lots and lots of faces on it. So roughly how many stars do you have coming in for this thing altogether, both local and guests?
Total talent roster will be somewhere between 65 and 70 guys. Of those, probably 25 to 30 have either been in the WWE, WCW, ECW, currently or have been in TNA, and or have fought for the UFC and or Bellator.
Nice. So in terms of the time frame on that day, Saturday, April 8th, there is a meet and greet to start things off. Is that right? And does that go from 4 to 6?
4 to 6 p.m. there's a meet and greet, and also during the meet and greet there'll be 5 pre-show matches that we have scheduled. So if you're not interested in partaking in the meet and greet, or you only want to meet 1 or 2 celebrities, we will have that entertainment for you, so you're not just sitting there staring at the wall.
Okay.
We do have, like I said, we have 5 pre-show matches scheduled. So roughly every 10 to 15 minutes or so, we'll have a match kickoff to help kill the time on the pre-show while the meet and greets are going on.
Okay. So match is going on at the same time. When the match is done, somebody will scrape the bodies off the mat and then start the next one up.
Correct.
Cool. And then the main card starts at about 6?
Yeah, it'll be somewhere between 6 and 6:15. We'll kick off. And I'll give you some breaking news here. The opening bout on the show is going to be the Royal Rumble match, which is going to have somewhere in the ballpark of 40 guys in it. And the winner will get an open contract for any title at any time.
And I know that a couple of your guests are already looking forward to that, because we have some recorded words from Zach Gowen and Stephan Bonner stepping into a wrestling ring, and also the artist formerly known as D-Ray 3000. And yes. I'll play those clips in just a little bit. Awesome,
yeah. Zach seems to think he's got an edge in that match, and you'll hear why in the clip.
Yeah, it's an interesting take for sure. So apart from that Rumble that starts things off, I have some of the matches that are expected, such as Abyss and Crazy Steve against the Midwest Monsters, Aldo Rose versus John Hudson, the 4-way match for the brand new Smash Mouth Women's title, which is Angelina Love versus Shauna Reed versus Rosemary, and is the 4th one Maria James or Jazz?
Maria James.
Okay.
Jazz and Rodney Mack have canceled off of the event, so Maria was actually scheduled to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble, and when the opportunity came up for the ladies' title match, she went ahead and took that opportunity. And I don't blame her for that. So what do you think? There's 5 pre-show matches, and I heard 14 altogether. Is that correct? There'll be 15 matches total on the card, and then before the show, before we open the doors, we're going to do an empty arena match for the hardcore title, which will air on the iPay-per-view, as well as be on the DVD release. It'll be exclusive to the DVD release.
Okay.
But we're going to air it on the iPay-per-view as well when we take intermission, so that way we have coverage, and fans watching on iPay-per-view aren't just staring at the arena of people moving around.
Sure. Tell me somebody's going to hit with a bowling pin during that, please.
That is very possible. I've heard rumors that it might end up on lane 22 as well.
All right. So maybe apart from the 2 that we've talked about, specifically the Rumble and then the empty arena hardcore match, let's leave some surprises in terms of matches, but can you spot like maybe 3 or 4 of the highest profile matches that you have, and who they might feature?
I think the world title match is going to be good. It's a 6-way elimination match. It features Marty Jannetty, former WWE star from the Rockers, Drew Skills, current SPW heavyweight champion, the franchise Troy Miller, Sugar Dunkerton, Will Huckabee, and a guy making his debut out of Chicago who is the freelance wrestling heavyweight champion, GPA. I think that'll be pretty solid. I think also Colin Cambridge and Chase Stevens will be pretty solid. They've met 2 or 3 times on Smash Mouth shows before. And actually, one of their matches is the highest rated match on my YouTube channel. It's got something like 5,000 views.
Nice.
So I know those guys can go pretty good. And then another one I think will be really good is the Bambino family versus Congo Kong and a mystery partner.
And the mystery partner is replacing Abdullah the Butcher, who, because of health reasons, had to cancel. Is that right?
Yes, Abdullah was supposed to have hip surgery, and that ended up getting pushed back. And we're hoping to bring him in, possibly for Smash Fest 2 or a show later this fall once he gets his hip corrected.
Okay. Well, we'll wish him the best. You touched on a couple of things during those descriptions of matches, and also before, one of which is the option to watch this on iPay-per-view on the FITE app, F-I-T-E.
Absolutely. You can download the FITE app either on out of the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, and you can watch it on your phone, or you have the ability to, if you have a Roku or a Fire Stick or a smart TV, I believe, you can stream it, from your device to your television, essentially.
And you have coming in 2 pretty high-profile commentators to help with the commentating.
I would say so. Ricardo Rodriguez is coming in, who isn't necessarily known for his commentary, but I believe due to being the personal Alberto Del Rio that he'd be able to handle that job. And then we've got from Lucha Underground, Matt Stryker coming in as well.
That's great.
And Matt is courtesy of Strong Style Wrestling. They're bringing him in as a guest for our show.
Nice. And then kind of overseeing the whole thing is a special guest manager, or general manager. General manager. There we go.
Yeah, we brought in Raven to help oversee things and keep things in order, because we figured with this many guys and this many personalities and egos that we might need a little bit of help there.
Do you think he'll stand a chance of having to knock some heads around to keep the peace?
He says in one of his promos he promises somebody's going to take the DDT.
Awesome. It's like a lottery.
Right. So it's just a matter of, I guess, probably whoever crosses his path first that he doesn't like or gives him some attitude, But he has assured us that somebody is going to take, the Raven effect.
All right. So I will go into playing some of these promos that have been delivered so that folks can listen to what the wrestlers have to say. One of the people who's delivered one is Stefan Bonner, who's in MMA. Do you want to say something about your MMA guests?
Yeah, we've got Sean McCorkle coming in, who has fought in the UFC, and he's fought the former world's strongest man, Mariusz Pudzianowski. We got Chris Lights Out Lido coming in, longtime UFC vet, fought plenty of tough people, and then what people are calling the headliner essentially is Stefan Bonner, who's in the UFC Hall of Fame, and is also a region native. Stefan was born in Hammond, and then lived and went to high school in Munster. Graduated from Munster High School. So this is his first appearance, from what I understand, and talking to him since around 2005 or 2006 was the last time he was here. He cornered Miguel Torres for a fight at the Hammond Civic Center, but hasn't done an appearance in the area in roughly 10 or 11 years.
Okay, great. So we'll hear what he has to say in just a few minutes. In terms of these promos, 2 of them are recordings of interviews with the performers, not just them talking into a webcam or something, sort of like we are. and the interview is done by Reginald Primrose. Who is Reginald Primrose, and where did you find him?
I don't know where I found him. He just kind of showed up one day, and he's like an STD. You can't shake him, you know. But no, he's I don't know. He's done some commentary for us, and is doing some interviews for us, and we just got to work on getting him together a little bit. I think he's a little scatterbrained, I believe.
Well, he did a pretty good job on these things, and we'll get to listen to those. Do you have any last words, recommendations, encouragements to give out to folks before I start playing some of those promos?
The only thing I ask is, just, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling. Twitter's SPW219. You can find us on YouTube. SmashMouthProWrestling.com is our website. You can also, buy the show on the Fight app. Again, you can search Smash Fest and find that. And the ticket link is smashfest.brownpapertickets.com, and that'll have all the meet and greets and tickets that are available. Currently will be available there. You can also get tickets at Inman's or messaging me directly on Facebook.
Okay, thanks for spending some time here on WVLP and giving us an overview of the event. Best of luck for pulling it off smoothly, and I will certainly see you then.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Once again, that was Jeremy Siebold, owner and promoter of Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling, giving a big overview of Smash Fest coming up Saturday, April 8th here in Valparaiso, Indiana at Inman's. And just as promised during that discussion, what I'm going to do now is let you hear from some of the performers about what they have going on at Smash Fest. And let's start by listening to Raven, who is coming in as the guest general manager for this event.
My name is Raven, professional wrestling superstar. And April 8th, I'm going to be at the Smash Mouth with Abdullah the Butcher, Angelina Love, Decay, Rob Conway, Rodney Mack, all kinds of superstars are going to be there. And it's going to be mayhem, pandemonium. There's going to be a new hardcore champion, a new ladies champion. It's going to be all kinds of nonsense. There's going to be shenanigans. There's going to be hijinks. People are going to get hurt. It's going to be massive. It's going to be bloody, beautiful, and brutal. Yeah, and brutal. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
So that's Raven coming as general manager. And in some of these promos, you might hear a reference to Abdullah the Butcher. I don't know that he said it, but again, like Jeremy said, he's out due to health reasons. And I think Raven mentioned Rodney Mack, who is also not actually appearing on the show. Let's listen to what Abyss has to say about his match with the Midwest Monsters.
That's right. It's me, the Monster Abyss, and I'm coming to Smash Fest Saturday, April 8th. Only this time, I'm not coming alone. No. This time, my partner's in Decay. The wild and crazy man, Crazy Steve, my partner. And the beautiful leader of our group, the lovely Rosemary. All three of us at Smash Fest Saturday, April 8th, to face you, Midwest Monsters. I know you quite well. And on Saturday, April 8th, Decay invades Smash Fest, and we're going to invade you. We're going to show you Decay's meaning of pain, suffering, and carnage. So get your tickets now, and get ready, because Smash Fest is coming Saturday, April 8th. The Monster Abyss, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, Decay against you, Midwest Monsters. Be there.
And here's what the Midwest Monsters have to say for Decay.
April 8th, Smash Fest in Valparaiso, Indiana. The biggest event of what? Of the summer? No, the year. Whatever. And you want to know why? It's because the Midwest Monsters are taking on Abyss and Crazy Steve in a Monsters Ball match. Whoa. Really?
Monsters ball, baby.
Really? Dude, the last time I was in the ring with Abyss, what happened? I pinned his shoulders to the mat. 1, 2, 3.
You know, and the thing is, big fella, the problem I have is that this is the first time that the K's coming to the Indies. And guess what? This is going to be the last time. Because after me and my brother from another mother, Brutus Dillon, take care of the K, they ain't coming back.
But hey, there's something that's bugging me about all this, dude.
Yes.
Like, for real, man, like, there's something, like, it's not Abyss, it's not Crazy Steve, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna take care of them.
Yeah.
The one thing that's just bugging me, it's just eating me alive.
Ooh, I know
It's you, Rosemary.
Rosemary.
Rosemary, my darling. Look, I know behind those eyes, behind all that face paint, behind all of that darkness that you have, you have love for the Midwest Monsters.
Oh, you love the Midwest Monsters.
And come April 8th, Rosemary. Look, we are going to make an offer that you just can't refuse. So Abyss, Crazy Steve, and you, my darling Rosemary, April 8th can't come soon enough. Because on that night, not only are we going to prove that we are the only monsters in the Midwest, hell, we're the only monsters in the world. But on that night, Rosemary, my darling, we're coming for you. See you very soon.
I don't know if they're looking more forward to their match with Abyss and Crazy Steve or checking out Rosemary, but Tank was channeling Brother Love there for a second, I think. Let's listen to a couple of the very brief interviews with Reginald Primrose and a couple of the performers. These are recorded at a different event, and so there is some background noise, so it's bad enough these things are down to one channel here for whatever reason, but we'll fight through it. Here's Angelina Love.
Hey, wrestling fans! Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling correspondent Reginald Primrose here. I'm with Angelina Love. She's got a big chance at winning the first ever Smash Mouth Women's Championship, April 8th, Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling Valparaiso. What do you have to say?
I'm very excited to be there. I need to have your excitement.
Yes.
And I feel that your name fits your jacket.
Oh, thank you.
That's not very much, by the way. I'm like Millie Dillon Warrior in my 4-way dance that I'm having. I am extremely excited about it. I have played around a little bit. Not Rosemary, though. We are both Canadian, believe it or not. We've never seen each other in the ring. So that should be interesting. I don't think we could be more polar opposites, so that'll be fun. And then we have a little surprise guest too coming from Ohio, I believe. So I'm very, very excited about this match. What about you?
I'm super excited. Rosemary calling you out in a promo, kind of dark, kind of brooding, some candlelight.
Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Specifically,
What did she say?
She did some kind of incantation and spoke in tongues and put some kind of hoodoo on you.
Is it Rosemary or Winter we're talking about?
Rosemary.
Oh, okay. I've been there, done that, so snap myself out of it, just like I will in April 8th. Not even worried about it.
Well, good luck to you. Fans, we'll see you there.
I'm going to make an executive decision and save some of these other promos for next week because we're winding down on time here. I will play some more next week. Right now, I want to concentrate on a couple of promos that are by people that will participate in the Battle Royal that will open up the event. This is Stefan Bonner.
The American Psycho, Stefan Bonner here, letting you know about Smash Fest on iPay-Per-View. April 8th in Valparaiso, there's a Royal Rumble. It's professional wrestling, and all I can tell you is that I'm going to tap some clowns out. These fools, while I was off fighting in the UFC for the better part of 10 years, these clowns were singing and dancing in high school musicals. So they're going to get beat down, and I might have to work against this big clown, Sean McCorkle. He's got a couple of wins in the UFC, but I guarantee you, Smash Fest, I'm going to be smashing some fists in his mouth.
And Zach Gowen.
Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, the one-legged warrior Zach Allen here, and I'm coming to Smash Fest April 8th. It's going to be a huge show, possibly the biggest independent show in Indiana history. I know I've been around a while. I've seen a lot of great cards in the great state of Indiana, but this show has every single star I think has ever been on TV, plus a whole crop of new and upcoming talent there. So the card's going to be amazing. The autograph session is going to be awesome. Super fan interactive, great wrestling show. They're going to have me in a battle royal. An over-the-top battle royal. And I think they might have made a mistake because the rules state clearly that to be eliminated from the battle royal, that both feet have to hit the floor. Well, I only have one, so I can't lose. See you there, April 8th. Whoop, whoop. Yeah.
All right, this is Ken the Metal Professor. That's all we have time for. Next week on Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, King Bishop from ARW Pro will be here, and we will listen to more of these promos regarding Smash Fest, and King Bishop will talk about what ARW Pro has coming up in the near future, and he's a metal guy himself. He has some know-how and some knowledge, and so maybe we'll get him to come in a little earlier and play guest DJ as well. But for now, thanks for listening. It's time to turn it over to Punk Rock Radio.